What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And it is Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday to you. And we got a special treat. You see the background. You know that's not the colors I normally adorn, but it's all good because there's another team that I love, and it's that Fighting Irish. And if there's one person that I've met in my time, a close friend of mine that loves that team far more than I ever could, it's my guy, my main man, E.K. Holiday, Eric Kelly, baby. What's going on, man?
I could never do your entrances justice, Sean Spencer.
Let's go.
Doing great. Happy to be here talking to you tonight, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Anytime I get together with you, my friend, it's always a good time, and most likely we talking some good football, man.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go. So look, ladies and gentlemen, hey, this is Let's Talk College Football. Normally it's me and my guy Alex Loosemore, and we will be on tomorrow. Start to preview the college, the draft, a lot of these prospects. Who are some of the guys that we think are some of the front runners, and look around each position, and also who are some of our sleepers, and talk a little bit more about Notre Dame and around college football. Who are some teams we're going to look at? But we'll dive into that tomorrow. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the Fighting Irish, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And for those of you that don't know, my guy over here is a a diehard, it's easy. Everybody can say, "Oh, they're diehard fans. They're this and that." When you cut this man, okay, you see the blood of Notre Dame, of the Irish. Okay, you see the beard. This man is come on, he's a leprechaun. E.K. Holiday, tell people how you started, how you became a fighting Irish fan, man. Let's talk about it.
Oh, I was born into it, Sean. I
Come
didn't
on.
have a choice. I grew up in North Carolina, and I flirted with being a Wake Forest fan. I
Oh,
flirted with being a North Carolina fan. But my dad, he made sure he knew what destiny was.
oh yeah.
Watching games with him on Saturdays, and he used to be the one who was wild and crazy and throwing his hand up, hitting the ceiling fan, breaking something, stuff like that. And those Saturdays together just really poured into it. He grew up in South Bend, so not too far away from the stadium. So it was kind of the lifeblood of there, and we've been fans ever since. Now he gets great joy out of mocking me, how I act,
Yeah.
and how much I video games, which is hilarious because I
Yeah.
mean he started
Yeah.
it. He's
Exactly. Oh
the
yeah.
creator of this monster. So that's how we ended up here.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, he created this. He knew the torture in the good days and the bad days. But unfortunately, you have not experienced in your adulthood a championship. Correct?
No, 2 months before I was born was the
Mm,
last time they won a championship. So I
yes.
may be the curse. Um,
No. It's no. The curse that will be broken. Trust me.
so yeah, nothing during my adulthood. Or my life in general. But we're having some good runs lately. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, look, let's go and talk about it. Let's recap the 2024 season. Look, talk about runs. Talk about we're back. You were in the game. Now we know we're not gonna. We can dive into the game later. We don't need to do it on this show, but you guys came all the way back, and not even just all the way back from, let's say, 1988 and Lou Holtz and all that, but let's say all the way back from Northern Illinois and how things looked at that particular point, and then the run that you go on from that point on, getting into the college football playoff, beating the Georgias, getting all the way to that game, and doing every. I mean, you were right there at the doorstep. Talk to me about the season, man. How was it?
yeah, it was a wild ride from not wanting to go back on your show after the pregame for Northern Illinois.
Yeah. Mm,
I took them serious, but I also didn't take them that serious. So much like the team on that ooh, hurtful Saturday. But all that to say, I think we've talked on a few occasions that I don't think we end the season where we end without that happening.
yep.
I think you might throw on two, maybe three losses if that didn't occur. Really interesting. I mean, the defense has been amazing for I don't know since Mike Elko the last 6 years or so. So riding them the whole way, electric plays by the running backs, just really pulling us. Quarterback play was I don't know if I had hair, it would have been gone. And that's not a shot at Riley Leonard, but I the stats don't back this up, but I did feel
Mm,
like we were a triple option offense for
yeah. For most of the season, yes.
so and credit to him. That dude was a warrior. But it felt like a little bit of smoke and mirrors, but then um I don't know, that team was just gritty, man. Even if we get down to the championship game, um, where they got smacked around pretty good in the second, third quarter, and still came back to make it a game. So yeah, um, it was a wild ride, um, and it turned out to be a little more than smoke and mirrors, like it felt like for maybe that 5 6 weeks that you're post Northern Illinois and you're trying to figure out what exactly are we, who are we.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think no better moment epitomized your season than that touchdown run in the playoff game. Jeremiah with Love,
Hmm.
where he's sitting there running to the goal line two or three times, look like he's down, and it's nothing but his will, his heart, his and that was the team. That there was moments where it was like Northern Illinois, like what the hell, like can't win like this. But then there was moments like what the week later when you played what Purdue and just dusted them. Like it was 42-0 in the third quarter. Like it was just you killed them. So you were a tough team. You came all the way through despite whatever the issues were. It really showed the character. We're going to talk about the coach in a minute, but look, before we do that, so many people have come after you. I know you've had to deal with it over the years. I am somebody that grew up on NBC4, watching Lou Holtz, watching the Fighting Irish, Rick Meyer. I've said this many a time. I was one of the people that said he will be the next Joe Montana. I was wrong. I was wrong. Period. But you have Ricky Waters, you have Jerome Bettis, Chris Zorn. All these great names in the early '90s, and I just remember watching them, and I just remember thinking like, there's Notre Dame, and then there's the rest of college football. You know what I mean? That's just it was more the folklore than the actual football and everything. So many years you've had to deal with their regular season good, but they can't do anything in the big game. They choke in the big game. Notre Dame can't, Notre Dame, oh, we know they'll be fine, but they can't even get in the conference. Are you back? Is it, are y'all here? Is it the Nuke, maybe not Nuke Rockney and the Four Horsemen, but contender, like back.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, and I guess I have to answer it in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
Um, the first is, um, we can go back to 2012, and you can only name four other teams since 2012 that have more wins than Notre Dame. So let's put that in perspective, and that's with one
Hmm.
horrific year that dragged us down during that time. Now, so from that standpoint, consistency, always being there. What Freeman is doing, we'll dive into that, I'm sure. But what Brian Kelly did set up, um, even with some of the mixed feelings about losing him and his tenure, um, So consistency wise, like, yeah, yeah. I mean, we've been back since 2012 when you're in the top 5 in wins for all of college football.
Hmm.
Now, the bigger point, yes, 100%. It's been a monkey on my back and on our back for my entire fanhood of not having the big wins and showing up. And I think, Philip Rivers, NC State Gator Bowl
Mm.
torched us. Jumped to Ohio State Fiesta Bowl. Troy Smith torched us. Um, I can just think game after game. Jamarcus Russell,
Oh,
LSU.
yeah.
Yeah. So all these, these are the BCS games that we're making it to, and at that time, not showing up. Um, and then getting into the playoff era, making a couple more, um, you know, uh, BCS, college football playoff um, games, all that good stuff. Ohio State gets us again. We come up against a historic Alabama team.
Hmm.
We come up against a historic Clemson team, and it the writing's on the wall. It says what it says. Didn't show up. Um, but this year was, getting the win against Indiana was like, uh, okay, it's at least nobody can say that we don't have a college football playoff win or a big win. But
Right.
is it really a big win? Um, it is more symbolically than maybe it is necessarily on the field. But the Georgia and Penn State back to back, that was pretty special, and uh, I don't have to listen to that no more, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, nobody says. I know in my heart that I don't have to listen to those critics anymore regarding not showing up for big games. You know, when you show up big time, you take
Hmm.
down those dogs. Hopefully, those dogs are listening. They know I love them.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Woof.
it was a heck of a game there, and then against what I still think currently is the standard of college football as far as on the field,
Oh.
and uh, and then Penn State. Um, that one had some interesting storylines to it,
Hmm.
uh, and James Franklin maybe ticked off the wrong coach, before the game that time, and
Mm.
just a little extra juice. So
Yeah.
uh, putting down Penn State felt better than putting down Georgia. So,
Oh, I believe it. I believe now. Putting down Georgia wasn't bad. That
oh,
I took a little bit pleasure in that.
I know
I'm not
you
gonna
did. I know
say.
you did.
I
Uh,
needed some people to pump their brakes. All right, pull over. All right, because they were a little too speedy in their attempt to accelerate the conversation.
yeah,
So you
but
know,
even with that one, it was still of course, before we play, don't stand a chance from
yep,
anybody talking
yep.
about it. And then after we win, it's, well, they didn't have their quarterback. Before the game, it was, well, they're better off with their backup quarterback. So,
Mm, hmm.
eh, so the Penn State game, there were no question marks there. Abdul Carter was a freak.
Yeah,
Uh, backs played well. So, um, no caveats to the Penn State game.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
Ohio
hey,
State, tip of the cap, man. I
it's
mean,
Ohio State. I mean, we've talked about the $20 million roster. We've talked about how great Jeremiah Smith is. Like we've talked about how good this team is. So to see what they did, we know. Shout out to our guy Alex Loosemore. His Michigan Wolverines were able to beat them, but Ohio State in that game clearly tried to play Michigan's style of play, and
yeah,
that's not what they do, and that's how they lost it.
and that was. I mean, it's not a apples, but that was their Northern Illinois,
Right,
and
right,
I mean they
because
became
they never looked back after that.
a team after that game. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, but heck of a season, man. Really proud of
Yeah.
it. And, I've thought we were back, but now I don't feel like I have to listen to the arguments of
Mm-mm.
people who say we suck.
Oh no,
So
three playoff wins in a year. No, yeah, you're back. Period. Let's just say it. Let's put a ball on. You're back. Let's get into it. And the reason you're back, this guy right here, Coach Marcus Freeman, man. I look, you've talked about how great it feels to have him in house, what he means to not only the team but the community surrounding it. I mean, coming from Brian Kelly, all the success, but he has his way of coaching
mhm,
to that moment when Marcus Freeman is in the locker room and the team just engulfs him and is hugging him to where we're at now, man. Like, what is Marcus Freeman to Notre Dame and to that whole university?
sure. I can only, of course, speak to it from my perspective, which is a outsider who loves it. But even the past 2 years, even after Northern Illinois, there was a segment of the fan base that wasn't too happy.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, with the Marshall loss and the Stanford year one, that sort of stuff. Um, with all that said, though, I've been on this bandwagon, number one, because I think from everything I can tell, this dude really cares about
yes,
his players, and that means a lot. We talked about it on a previous podcast, just or podcast conversation with the other guys. Just that, um, I really do value the fact that he cares about them more than just as football players, and that actually
yes.
stems back from I loved Tyrone Willingham,
Hmm. Big
and
fan.
it definitely wasn't going to go well, and it was definitely trending down where we were going with them. But I remember one of the monumental moments of my Notre Dame fanhood was, being a young guy and not understanding how he benched the captain, best defensive player on the team for skipping a class. That just that doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
but that those things you see when they did it, it was kind of monumental, and I always thought he was a wonderful role model. And then we go through the Kelly and the Weiss, where they're just different personalities. But Freeman really cares about the kids. He talks passionately about it. Um,
Hmm.
you can tell that he's a family man himself. He involves the players with his family as well. He tries to bring the family around. Not something that other coaches aren't doing, but when you hear him talk, you're just like, all right, this guy really believes what he's selling. Um,
Hmm.
and the conversations when I see or read reports on recruits, they aren't talking about, hey, he said he's going to use me this way or that way. They genuinely talk about, he talked with me about what I can do if I don't make it in football, or
Hmm.
what I can do after Notre Dame, or the connections I'll get through going to Notre Dame. Um, and parents absolutely fall in love with the guy too. Um, he's a fierce competitor. I don't know if you
Hmm.
saw some of
I
those
saw that.
games. I referred to the Penn State stuff earlier, when James Franklin was kind of like big boy in him, like I'm the big brother at the press conference,
Mm.
and you could
Mm.
just see Marcus's face, and then some rumblings start coming out about how Marcus is a bit different than he was at some other practices because
Yeah.
he wanted James to
Oh
to
yeah.
feel it. Um, recruiting has been at a whole other level too, but under Brian Kelly, especially towards the end, while he had built a culture there that was winning, it was kind of in that professional show up for business kind of mentality,
Yeah.
uh, and it lacked the passion um, that you often need in college football. Um, so we had trouble getting up for big games. Uh,
Hmm.
with Marcus, so far, sometimes it's been the trip up games, but there hasn't been a big game um, that we haven't gotten up for, and that's
Right.
that's been super impressive.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love the dude, and I love watching everything that the guy does. He's fantastic, and I wish we could lock him up for the next, 15 years.
Decade, right?
I'll take I'll take the extension that we have now.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, and you can tell. I mean, not even from the big games from this year, but you go back to last year. You go back to that Ohio State loss at the last second where they drove down. The toughness in that game was paramount. But I think what is really big about him and what really impresses me, and I'm you talk about you're outside looking, I'm really outside looking in at Notre Dame. We have followed Riley Leonard, obviously coming from Duke when he transferred over to you guys. We both looked last year at Hartman, and that was obviously a disappointment. That didn't pan out. So then when you go from Hartman, who has this, all these records and an ACC at Wake Forest and everything, and you expect all this. He doesn't do what you expect. Then you get Riley Leonard, and you know what type of quarterback Riley is. You mentioned earlier that at one point it was a triple option offense. I mean, you and I talked on multiple occasions where it was like, if you got to depend on Riley Leonard to pass, just cross your fingers. Like it's so, but the fact that you have a Marcus Freeman that has stuck with him. This is my guy, regardless. He's tough, and I'm going to fight with him. I'm going to go back and forth. That relationship, you see Riley Leonard's faith and just how he's able to do. But one of the things that I really love about Coach Freeman is you can really tell he's going to stick with this guy. He's gonna click with him. Case in point, you and I are watching the Georgia game, right? Talking back and forth. The first fourth down, Georgia punts. And the guy rushes off the edge, hits the punter. The very next play, he does the same thing again. Gets flagged both times. He comes off. I'm sitting here saying, no, get this guy out of here. He's done. He's done. And he said, nope. Coach is going to talk to him because he knows if he can rely and tell him, I still believe in you, but you got to get your head right. He's going to come in. And what did he do? Made a couple huge plays later on in the game. But that's just shows what kind of a head Coach Freeman is. I was excited when he came in there because it is more like a family as opposed to, the business aspect of it with Kelly. But yeah, this looking going forward. I mean, not only are you back, but you got a guy that we got the GOAT in the NFL. But I envy what you guys got in South Bend.
Yeah, I love it. It's a bright future, man. And he did not have a Ohio State clause in his new extension. So heck yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But look, we're gonna take a quick breather. I gotta shout out my buddy Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans. He is a handyman. He definitely travels, does good work. We'll be right back. Stick with us because we're gonna talk a little roster talk on the other side. Be right back. Yeah, buddy. Shout out to my guy, Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans on Instagram. It's awesome_artisans. Definitely check him out. He's on Facebook. He travels, does great work. You saw in the video some of the things that he is able to do. Highly recommended. So definitely get in touch with him. You see who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer, on this Friday. I'm here with my guy, E.K. Holiday, talking a little Notre Dame football. Shout out to those of you watching Misador said Musador is our Tampa Bay Bucks guy, but he lives in Indiana. He has a special place in his heart for Notre Dame. And he said the NIL could kill Notre Dame. So it should be interesting. And I see how your face turned up. So let's get right into it. One of the things you alluded to earlier is that Coach Freeman has been doing well with recruiting, and they've been able to get a lot of big name guys in. Let's kind of talk about the current roster as it is. Obviously, a lot of guys will be moving on, but then you've got some guys that are staying here, and you're not going to be left without. You're going to be good next year. So talk to me about the current roster, and then we can dive into the transfer portal and going forward.
Sure thing. So there is some turnover, but the turnover isn't really super duper drastic. So obviously quarterback, big hit
Yep.
anytime you lose your starter captain. Um, Xavier Watts on the other end of the field, same thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
anchoring you down on the opposite side of the field. Benjamin Morrison, big loss. With that said, though, he didn't play for most of the season,
Hmm.
so it's kind of one of those. Yeah, we lost him, but we really didn't have him either. So
Yeah.
fortunately, some other dudes at corner really stepped up. A couple super seniors, the interior defensive line have left. Um, Really, as far as production, those are really the ones that have left. So
Okay.
if we're talking the big question in the room, which I'll let you poke and prod about that when you want to, but obviously quarterback is going to be the uh, the big question about what's going on at the
Yeah.
moment. Running back, absolutely loaded. We probably, in my opinion, a little biased, have the best running back in the country in Jeremiah
Okay.
Love.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Since Omarion is leaving in the draft, of course.
sure, yeah, he
Yeah.
was he was the one I was worried about for sure.
Tar
Uh,
Heel, baby.
uh, Jadarian Price behind him, he had a
Yeah.
fantastic year coming off Achilles from 2 years ago, so he's rounded into form. And then the room behind them has gotten absolutely stacked with talent. Offensive line, we didn't have any experience going into the year last year. Um, it's going to be really interesting this year to see where different players shake out because there's a lot of returning experience from
Hmm.
what was gained throughout the year last year. In camp, there's a bit of a few injuries that are making it a little harder to figure out exactly where some guys are going to land. But we had a freshman All American play left tackle. He was a true freshman, undersized, um, 3-star kid out of Georgia. He jumped in for our projected top player or top tackle after he got hurt before the season. He made the freshman All American team.
Wow.
We probably have, depending on how it comes out, the best two guards in the country, at least the best tandem in the country, maybe
Yeah.
the best number one and number two guard. Um, so, and then we have a really, really steady player on the right side. Not to mention, we recruit the line really, really, really well.
Yes.
Look at the NFL and look at those contracts. It's very Notre Dame friendly.
Oh
Um,
yeah. All those cornbread white boys in the Midwest. They congregate in that area.
that's right. The tight end, wide receiver, we lost a great tight end. Um,
Hmm.
we lost some experience at receiver through the transfer portal mostly, but kind of similar to Benjamin Morrison. Um, how much you lost is kind of hard to tell because the production wasn't necessarily there, and that
Right.
necessarily due to their fault. But
You
some
weren't
good.
passing that much.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said, yeah, you weren't passing that much.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We did have a bit of a star pop out in the playoffs the last couple games with Jaden Greathouse really showed out.
Hmm.
We have the best receiver from UVA from the last couple of years coming in, so hopefully he makes a dent. There's a lot of talent there. I don't know that there's no Jeremiah Smith um, lurking. Um, or Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of talent. It's just a matter of once we figure out who's facilitating, if they're going to get it there.
Yes.
On the defensive side of the ball, um, secondary looks freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Mike Mickens. If you like college football and it's something you want to pay attention to, like the rising stars of the sport, pay attention to what he's doing recruiting, as well as what he's doing coaching guys on the field. Um, the corners he had at Cincinnati having pretty good careers. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
what he's doing before he came to Notre Dame, we struggled at corner specifically. We struggled to recruit them, and we struggled to develop them.
Oh yeah.
Um, so um, we're pretty loaded there now. When Benjamin Morrison went down, we had another true freshman step up, um, Leonard Moore out of Texas, and true freshman. He, depending on what you think of Pro Football Focus, but they say he's the best returning corner in college football as a true
Ooh.
sophomore. Um,
Okay.
yep. On the other side of the ball, or other side, Christian Gray, and then safety Adon Schuler really stepped up. So
Mm.
hoping that he kind of steps in, just take some of that pressure off that the legendary Xavier Watts had. And then you throw in some transfers too. So Jalen Stroman out of Tech, really
Mm-hmm.
really good player when he's healthy. Of course, that's the key word, when he's healthy. And then one of the few nuggets to kind of slip out of camp, um, which has been really quiet this year of what's getting out, is the Alabama transfer,
Mm.
uh, Devonte Smith, who was recruited as a nickel, and he's going to play some safety too. They think they've really found uh, a stud when it
Oh wow.
comes to him. So
Okay.
it's pretty exciting, and it's the best defensive back class, the freshmen that have come in, that I've seen in my lifetime as a Notre Dame fan. So some absolute freaks: Dallas Golden, Jadon Blair, Creed Thomas. So
Mm-hmm.
be really fun to see how they mix in. Linebackers, we lost the most experienced linebacker in Jack Kaiser, who was there for 18 years.
Mm-hmm. Collecting
But
Social Security.
exactly, um, heck of a player.
Yeah.
But we're now hitting, what is this? So Marcus was in year 3. So we're now getting the 4th year of his linebacker recruiting,
Mm-hmm.
which has been absolutely insane. Drake Bowen, 5-star. Jalen Sneed. I know a few people in different chats have gone, "Oh my goodness, that guy! He's finally getting his head on straight and is playing controlled." Um, we have Kingston, um, and then we got a couple freshmen coming in. Madden, um, Ferrioma. I can't say his last name right yet. I'll get it down by second week of the year.
Right.
Um,
You're
yeah,
hearing now.
Jaden Osbury. Um, so these are all guys that were highly touted for us coming in at linebacker. Not to mention some of the freshmen coming and rising sophomores and juniors. A defensive line, um, interior is experienced.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's any showstoppers, but there's a number of quality players there. We did get a guy from Louisville who was pretty good to play on the interior, so pretty excited about that addition, just to see where it shakes out depth wise. But I think we have 4 or 5 guys who can play on the interior, and really not be too concerned.
Yeah.
On the edge, that's where the fun starts. So
Hmm.
that's where we have Mr. Bryant Young's son. He is the
Mm-hmm.
one who frustrating the heck out of you at the beginning of the Georgia game, and
Mm-hmm.
you had
Mm-hmm.
me sitting there yelling back at you, going, "Keep sending them, keep
Right.
sending.
Don't
Let
quit.
them,
Keep coming.
let them know he is here."
Yep.
Uh, so, and then last year, one of the other things that I don't know a lot of people know, like we were devastated by injuries throughout the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were our two best pass rushers to begin the season were gone very early in the season. So Jordan Botello and Boubacar Traore. Boubacar was looking dominant to start the year. We lost them to um, ACLs. So both are expected back. Um, Josh Burnham, and then of course we've got some promising developmental guys coming in on the defensive line. Throw in a kicker from your hat right there. He was a pretty good kicker. He's got a big
Mm-hmm.
leg.
Yeah.
Um, and then we've got an
You're
Aussie
welcome.
punter who's a monster, or
Mm-hmm.
will be a monster if they kind of trust him and let him loose. Last year was his first year ever punting, so um,
They come
that
out the
just
womb punting on Aussie. All those Australians, they.
it's impressive, man.
Oh yeah.
And then quarterback. So we've got the guy who's been around for a little while, Steve Angeli. He's popped in some moments. He hasn't done anything that really scares you from him. He
Mm-hmm.
won the bowl game for us. He's probably like the least upside, least
Mm.
downside guy,
Yeah.
right? Um, then we have Kenny Menchie. He's a big arm, um, but highs and lows uh, from what we've seen thus far, whether it be the spring game last year or from uh, from practices that it
Yeah.
comes up. And then the guy that I've
The,
wanted to
the
talk about.
legacy.
Yeah, so the Michigan legacy,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. CJ Carr. So probably easily most highly touted quarterback we've landed since good old Jimmy Clausen.
Oof.
Um, so not Jimmy Good, but he's very well regarded. Um, Obviously, a great pedigree with his dad, having been a quarterback at Michigan, his grandfather being a national championship winning head coach for the University of
Mm-hmm.
Michigan. Um, the the reads on him so far, so that he would be a redshirt freshman going into
Okay.
this year, are that processing what's going on, he is by far the best of the group as
Okay.
far as reading defenses, making the right reads, all that good stuff. And he's the most consistent. So to me, that screams writing on the wall.
Mm.
You know, you don't know until you know. So I hate to say that I have a favorite or a guy I want to win because I root for all these guys, but I
It's
really
kind of
want to
yeah.
know. I want to know how fast the Ferrari goes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. And I mean, let's be honest. There's part of you that would love to get back and play Michigan somewhere down the line and beat them with the legacy child, the coach that has given you so many tormented you over the years to beat him with his grandson. Oh yeah.
absolutely. And nothing would be better than to get to talk to Alex Luce more
Oh
about
yeah.
and seeing Lloyd Carr wearing, that Notre Dame hat to cheer
Uh
on his.
oh.
Yeah. So, but there's a bunch of other fun legacies on the team too. So
Mhm.
Jerome Bettis Jr. joined the team
Mhm.
this year.
Nice.
Plexico Burris' son,
Oh.
Elijah Burris.
Wow.
Um, Obviously, Bryant Young's son, Bryce.
Mhm.
And then a whole bunch of different guys who played at Notre Dame before.
Mhm.
So, and then we've got some interesting ones coming in even next year. Um, Former Panther stud Thomas Davis. So there's a lot of people who there's a lot of people or a lot of ex NFL players that see the value, and they see it a bit different with getting the education and going to a place that'll develop you.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so typically the parents of ex-professional athletes, um, look kindly upon the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Oh yeah. And
Um,
they
it's,
want a more stable situation, and I think that's what
yeah,
they got there.
yeah, and I mean, how many of those guys played with guys who were great who never made it in the NFL or got injured,
Right.
and they know what it's really like to be able to get to
Hmm.
that level, succeed and sustain, and how rare it is to actually do that.
Oh yeah.
So those parents really understand the value of it. Throwing back to the NIL,
Hmm.
Notre
Okay.
Dame's
Go
pretty
ahead.
competitive in NIL.
Hmm.
Um, it's not $20 million Michigan, but or not Michigan. Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah. Or the Ohio State.
No, 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 no. I was saying Ohio State at first, and then
Oh
I
yeah.
said Michigan by accident, and then I
That's
remembered
true though.
Michigan gave their quarterback $11 million.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so both of them,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's similar to what Ohio State does. Most of it is about rewarding the guys who are staying in the program, and then
Right.
supplementing with players that are transfers that have proven to be good. There is not. We aren't playing the games. We've pulled out of a lot of recruitments for the bidding wars for incoming freshmen.
Yeah.
So come, everybody's getting something. Everybody on the roster is doing well.
Okay.
Everybody, top to bottom, even the
That's
walk-ons
big.
last year were doing
Wow.
well.
That's
Um,
huge.
so come, prove who you are. Sam Hartman did really well. Riley
Mm.
Leonard did really well.
Hmm.
Benjamin Morrison did great. So did
Oh
Xavier
yeah.
Watts. A couple of those were homegrown. A couple of those were guys that we brought in. Um, so yeah, it's not the open bank, but it is certainly pretty competitive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it shows. It absolutely shows. And guys are loyal. They want to stay there. And it shows. Shout out to my buddy Jared Harmon saying who's running as QB number one. We talked about it right now. It looks like QB competition. See Steve Angeli, CJ Carr, son of Michigan great Lloyd Carr, and Kenny McKinchey. Also, I see Anthony Rizak on here. Is he in the
He's
mix?
he was a preferred walk-on, so
Okay.
um, he won't be in the mix. And then Blake Herbert, who we stole from Clemson before signing day, he's true freshman. They like him a lot, but he's not really in the fold for the.
Not really in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he just got to campus what 2 months ago,
Oh,
so
oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's
yeah,
just happy to be there. He just happy to be
yeah,
there.
we'll cut him a little
Yeah.
slack.
Oh yeah. But so I mean, look. Let's be honest. I mean, one of the reasons I think Riley Leonard worked was because what Notre Dame has been at least over the last couple of years. You have a strong run game, great running backs, solid defense. And you've seen that's what was able to work. So it might give whoever the quarterback is a little bit more time to kind of get acclimated with, you know, the offense and get them going. You talked about the transfer portal. You said there's a couple guys you brought in. Is there any races that you're interested in? Is there anybody else like that you're looking at or anything of that nature?
Sure. So most of the guys, I think we kind of mentioned are like supplementing, positions of need. So expect Devonte Smith, not the Heisman winner, but the defensive back from
That's
Alabama,
what I thought at first. I thought the Heisman. I was like, what?
to be a good nickel based on everything we're
Hmm.
hearing. Jalen Stroman, I expect him to at minimum compete for time. He's injured, so he's not practicing this spring.
Hmm.
I remember, I think it's an ankle that's still healing.
Hmm.
Um, on the defensive line, so we brought in two uh, defensive line transfers. The one from Louisville, kind of expecting big things for him to be in that four-man rotation in the interior. He was
Yeah.
really productive at Louisville. And then we brought in Elijah Griffin, USC transfer. So we have forgiven him of his sins for going to Southern Cal, and
The enemy. Right.
that's and so he's one of those high ceiling, raw skills kind of guy.
Mm.
So we're gonna have to see, kind of where he ends up. Um, Hopefully he makes a jump. It's going to be hard because there's a lot of good depth on the defensive line. I can't tell you that there's no Joey Bosa right now,
Mm.
but there's a lot of really good, solid players on the defensive line. Um, as far as that's defense. Offense, um, Wisconsin receiver transfer, Will Pauling. Um, Interesting thing about him is our wide receiver coach was his wide receiver coach a couple years ago. So
Oh,
he
nice.
obviously he brought him in for a reason. But the depth and the competition at receiver right now is so in flux. There's a
Yeah.
ton of talent. We just don't know what or who it's going to shake out, other than we know a couple guys. And then Malachi Fields was our gem of the transfer portal. I think
Yeah.
past 2 years, I want to say he was around 55, 60 catches, probably about
Okay.
800, 900 yards each of the
Yeah.
last 2 seasons. If you look at our last few seasons, we don't have anybody near that. UVA also was not very good the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
he was doing that, um, without much help around him. So you can look at that a couple different ways. You can
Mm.
look at it as them forcing the ball to him, or you can look at it as that's a guy who's making plays over and over against teams that can double him. The encouraging thing for me is we've played him. I have a feeling that Mike Mickens probably said, he probably, as the defensive backs coach, said,
Get
you
him.
know what? Yeah, yeah. He gave me some heartburn. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he might be a good receiver to get. And with that collaborative recruiting, I would not be surprised at all if they included Mike in on those conversations. Um,
I believe
got
it.
a tight end from Arkansas. Don't really expect a ton from him. Um, and then some other guys here and there that are a little less notable, but will probably help on special teams, that sort of stuff.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Yeah, man. That transfer portal was popping, man. I know you guys got, a lot of little bit of this, a little bit of that out there, but we'll see how many of them actually make an impact. You also alluded to it now being spring. You know, you got the spring practices, things of that nature. Some of these guys are, getting on campus and whatnot. There's been a lot of talk, and we talked about it on when we did the college football update little roundtable we did. We talked about how some of the coaches are trying to, some of the coaches don't want to do the spring games because they don't want, other coaches and teams being able to spy on them and potentially poach their players and get them to transfer. We saw, um, Dion and the was it the
Fran
coach
Brown.
of Syracuse, Fran Brown, yeah, the coach of Syracuse coming together, potentially trying to talk about doing a scrimmage or something like that. Where does Notre Dame's spring game, where do they stand right now?
Yeah. Format wise, I'm not completely sure. That hasn't come out exactly what it's going to be. I do know that Marcus has alluded to there will be some changes as far as, how exactly the game itself is done. Uh,
Mm,
so that hasn't come out detail wise yet. Usually that comes out a couple days beforehand. He definitely wants to keep it. I know as we've talked before, he really values being able to get people into the stadium that may not always have that opportunity to do so.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's not a Michigan size venue, not that it's small, but there's 80,000 instead of 77,000 instead of, these Big Ten stadiums. And, for a good game, it gets pretty pricey even for an average game
Oh
to
yeah.
get to Notre Dame Stadium as well.
And
The other thing,
everybody wants to see touchdown Jesus. I mean, that's a
yeah,
destination.
but also, I mean, think of how many recruits come to the spring games. It's a
Hmm.
spectacle. Not only do they get to see, yeah, they can go to a practice, but how often do they get to see, you know, 20,000 fans show up for a practice? That
Right.
that
Right.
kind of stuff has impact.
Hmm.
Um, so it's I would hate to see spring games disappear. I know we talked about format wise, I don't really care. Go
Hmm.
let uh, go let CJ throw the ball to nobody, and
Yeah.
I'll eat every throw up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll,
No
every,
flag though. I'll draw the line with flag football. I don't
yeah.
want any flag
Oh,
football.
I'm with, especially if I got a guy tearing ACL playing flag football.
Right.
I will eat.
Exactly. No.
Um, so yeah, and especially this year, I know I've mentioned it a few times. Like I am not getting as much info as I have in past springs, which in some ways is kind of refreshing,
Yeah.
and in other ways is kind of like, well, I don't have my fix. Like
Right. Yeah.
I'm itching over here.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so at least let me see these guys go run routes on air, and all right, that'll at least help me simmer down until
Give me
July
something.
when we report back
All
to
right.
camp. Yeah.
Give me something out there, and at least like from years past, you there wasn't a competition. There was Riley Leonard was here. We knew, or Sam Hartman was here. You knew it was that guy. I don't think even when you had Cone, there wasn't a competition there, was it?
Just in respecting the other guy, it was a
Oh, yeah.
competition. So
Yeah. Right.
there's only been 1 year in the last four that was a outright competition. So
Right.
that was the year in between Cone and Hartman. So
See, so now you have that. Now it's gonna maybe give a little fire, and you want to see that. Now, I mean, I want to watch. I want to. This is when I look at CJ Carr. That's your Arch Manning. That's the legacy, the whole rivalry with Michigan. Like I want to see, can he take over, or will you guys be in a Michigan situation where it's like you have three quarterbacks, you don't really have any quarterbacks. Like what
nah, that
you
ain't
know, Oh, you sure about that? I mean, well, first of all, we want to see it. I want to see them compete. So I agree with you about the spring game. But
well. Well, I
you you
think at
you
minimum,
confident?
no, well, at minimum, Steve Angeli is the starting quarterback, and I've
Yeah.
seen him win games. I've seen him be able to throw the ball further than 5 yards. I don't know if the Michigan quarterbacks could do that last year.
Hmm.
So,
Ooh. Mm,
that's not even hate. That's not even a
mm.
shot.
It's not. It's not. It's truth. It's truth.
The Michigan quarterbacks looked like Mark Brunell in his last year, like just throwing 5 yard checkdowns because he
He
couldn't
had,
throw it 10 yards.
God,
Um,
Mark. He had some great years. Yes, but I agree.
he had some great throws to Santana and
Yeah.
about it. But uh, so if that's the minimum, I'm not saying that's going to be great, but it's serviceable.
Yeah.
So I think you can win 9, 10 games with what I know Steve Angeli can do.
Yeah.
Uh, but we don't want to win 9, 10 games. We want to win 13 to 15 games. So
Yeah.
that's where they're rooting for, the guy with the pedigree comes in. So um,
Mm-hmm. And you
ultimately, I want
almost
the
you
best guy.
you have to win. Don't you have to win 13, 15? You can't afford to only win what 10 because you don't have the luxury of the conference championship. right?
Yeah.
Or where did because even with your record this year, you guys only you were what fifth or where'd you end up?
So we where did we end up with the sixth? The highest we could get was fifth.
Yeah,
But I think how the whole seeding thing worked out. No, we didn't even get fifth. I think we might have been like seventh.
where were you? Was it
Penn
seven?
State 9? Yeah, because it was like 7 and 9. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm pretty sure it was seventh.
No, it was 7-10. You in Indiana
Yeah,
was in the 7-10 game.
there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The and that but that was detrimental, right? Because
hmm
we were the fifth ranked team, or even the fourth at one point, and
right.
there was still no way you would get beyond being the fifth, but then not playing in the conference title game. Um,
Mm.
Knocked us back a
Which
few spots,
I'm
quite a.
I'm okay with that because I thought and I'm pretty sure you agree with me on this that there was nothing like that atmosphere South Bend at night in the cold hosting Indiana. You know what I mean? You don't get that if you're one of the four buys where you automatically have to play in one of these different destinations. This was home field advantage for you guys, and it showed throughout most of that game, through all the game. To be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I think so for sure. Like, and hey, we have the first ever home playoff win, which is where it should be, in my opinion, for college
Mm-hmm.
football.
Yeah,
Um, I will still never agree with the people who say that playing in this bracket, but having a bye week, but it's a harder pool. Um, like who was it? Texas. It was like, oh, they have a harder route, or not Texas, because Texas played. Who did Texas go into after game one?
they Arizona State was no.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Texas, Arizona State. Then they went.
Yeah,
They played. Was it Ohio State? Either way.
yeah.
So, like Ohio State was in the second round, and that's where they
Well,
started.
are you
And
hearing about Oregon?
yeah,
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 Ohio
and,
State.
and people were saying that, oh my gosh, this 3 games is harder than 4 games, and I don't really care what it is. 4 games is 4 games, man,
It is. Yeah,
and it's a game the week beforehand.
right.
Uh, so yeah, are you a little more if you survive? Are you a little less rusty for the second round? Sure, but that other team has fresh legs. So, and again, winning 4 games, geez, man, that was a gauntlet
Oh yeah.
of a month, um, game after game after game after game. Um, so much so interesting tidbit, um, with how late the players went into the season,
Hmm.
uh, with the playoff format. They really like changed up depending on how many reps guys stat and stuff like that, their
Yeah.
availability for spring.
Hmm.
So, um, they took into account that, hey, this guy played 1,000 snaps this year, and he played into January, almost
Yeah.
February. Um, he's going to maybe not roll back in to all the football stuff until maybe
Yeah.
2 weeks after some of the other guys. So they did that with a lot of individual players. I'm not sure what I think about that, because part of you wants them to be with the team, but the other part is like, well, you also wear and tear does count. So
Yeah, it does.
what's the balance with that?
It definitely counts. Shout out to Will and Kramer in the comments saying Game Cox. This
Heck yeah,
guy.
man.
No, yeah, no, yeah. That now that you have, and a lot of it, that's a great point because with this tournament, especially if you do have the unfortunate having to play 4 games, you're taxing that, topping that, putting that on top of 11, 12 games already. So you're playing then, and now you're almost playing an NFL season,
Yep.
and the wear and tear is something that teams and coaches got to worry about, and especially those teams that are doing it year after year after year. I
Yep.
mean, we talk about Georgia and how great they were, but I mean, yes, half the team left and went to the pros and things of that nature. But you're playing, you know, 6, 7 months out of the year, and then you're getting a quick little break, and then you're doing it again back to back here. That takes a toll on these kids. You know what I
100.
mean? I mean, that's what they are. So, oh man, yes, yo, Notre Dame football, my guy. Always good talking to you, EK Holiday. Man, this has been fun, man. I have been begging you to get on here to talk football, and all I had to do was throw on a Notre Dame background. If that's all I had to do, man, I would have done that a long time ago.
I'm a cheap date.
Yeah,
When you throw out uh, anything related to my Irish. So I don't know everything. I think I know a lot more than I do, but I absolutely love it, and I love talking ball, especially with you and your crews. So thank you for
oh
having me.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh come on now. Oh, all day, every day. I will until I got to play you, you know, and or if I ever see Audric Estime, you know, might have to with what he did to my team. Mm-mm, mm-mm. We
You see
still
Audrey,
upset about that.
you're gonna be diving out the way like a bus is gonna.
Right. Like my players did, you mean? I mean,
Yeah,
yo, ladies.
flashbacks.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys joining us. We're sitting here talking Notre Dame football. We thank y'all for being here with us this Friday night. See, some of y'all still in the comments. Will still going back and forth. Uh, still just saying Gamecock, Gamecock. This guy, go coach something. Will.
Lenoris, Lenoris, I
Yep.
believe, Kramer. I believe, man.
Come on, come on. That's one of the things I kind of hated. I mean, what if they put in a South Carolina over like an Indiana or somebody like that, and then that first matchup is Notre Dame, South Carolina, in South Bend. Come on now, I hope something like that happens.
We don't want to wish that upon Will.
Hey, really quickly, it looks like it has been tied. Alex Ovechkin scores his 894th career goal to tie Wayne Gretzky for the most in NHL history. That is live right now, ladies and gentlemen. One more to beat the greatest. Man, come on, man. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I love me some Ovi, man. So let's go. Shout out to you, my guy.
Grade 8.
Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting out of here. For my guy, you see him right there. EK Holiday, my guy. It's your boy Sean Spencer. We're gonna see y'all on the flip side. Stay tuned tomorrow at noon. We are going on Let's Talk College Football. Myself, Alex Lewis-Moore, will be back, bringing our guy back over here to talk a little bit about this draft. Some of these upcoming, some of these players, who are the top prospects, who are some sleepers, and then we're going to go into the field, meaning we're going to look at all of the kind of main teams, but not in the different conferences. We're going to look around college football and see who are some teams that maybe independents like Notre Dame or other teams out there that maybe we're not looking at. Maybe somebody we're going to take a look at in the future. We'll see. We're going to check it. Definitely tune into us. Join us. Talk football. College football is never over whenever we're here. So, like he said, we'd love to talk this game. So, we're here. We're out of here. Talk to you on the flip side. Peace, people. Yeah, yeah. There it is.